What's happening? Okay. Yeah, we got the offset going again. All right, we talked about lone prepper versus group, bug out versus bug in, and kind of touching on those is the idea of bug out location for either you by yourself or if you have that group, for that group. And this road is horrible. Making y'all sick yet? No. Anyway, so what to look for in a bug out location? Now I understand that very, very few of us have the capital to be able to go out and grab a few hundred acres and it's got this on it and that, and I'm going to put the underground bucker on it here and all that. I know most of us it's going to be, well, my cousin has 5 acres on the outskirts of town. Okay, so I get that. Okay. But if you are looking for that type of location, or maybe you have a couple choices, what is it that you should be looking for? The first one that really comes to my mind is population density. Okay, that comes to my mind before acreage, before what water's on it, before is it woods, is it field, I mean everything. It's the population density, and that is, you know, in my mind, the one thing you got to watch for, because where I am at here, we have a lot of mid-sized cities and large towns, I guess that's how you'd kind of put it, and a lot of suburbs, okay? But just on the other side of suburbs, sorry, got a knot. Just on the other side of suburbs, it gets right into the farming, okay? So you could literally be on a 100-acre piece of ground that checks off all the boxes, but it's 7 miles from a massive population, from a whole lot of people. All right. So yeah, in my mind, first thing is that population density, guys. Try to have something out away from any towns, suburbs, stuff like that. Now, you don't want to be so far out in the sticks that, how can I say that? It's kind of a balancing act. You want to be out there, but at the same time, you don't want it to be so devoid of people that you don't have the chance to form that community at that location. Okay, and that's another thing I was going to talk about, is it ties into this, that along with your population density, make sure you're able to talk to the neighbors around that area. I know I'm kind of jumping back and forth. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how I want to explain it in my head. Pretty much, you don't want to get the perfect spot and you never talk to any of the locals, okay? Because when something happens, you and your group are the outsiders, and you don't want that, okay? Whatever area you find, you want to make sure that you are buddy-buddy with the locals there. Many advantages to that, okay? You're going to find typically people that live out in the more rural area. If the power goes out, they're probably going to be okay. Okay, they're probably just going to continue to live the way they have been for the most part. Or, you know, their granny and papa taught them how to live without electricity and everything. So yeah, you want to get some friends around your location. For right now, since you are not living there, having friends around that location, they can also keep an eye on your property for you. Okay? Our location, it is pretty secluded, but we know the neighbors around there, and the people that live in that area, if they know that if a vehicle driving by, if that one belongs or not, like it's kind of that, like they know that by that truck, if that's Johnson that lives up there, and they know by that Jeep that that's old Moses that lives down over the hill, or but when they see a vehicle that doesn't belong, that, you know, talking about that gray man versus tactical, you don't want to stand out. Excuse me. That vehicle stands out, and they take notice of that. So if you do have somebody messing with your properties, if you got buddies down there, if nothing else, they can at least give you a holler, give you a call, say, hey, something's going on. You can get in touch with police if you're too far away to go out there and see what's going on. Or at least they can get vehicle identification, maybe tags and all that stuff, so if somebody does break in and yanks all your crap, you know where to look. But whatever location you choose, make sure you become friends with the local communities around there. And that's where I was saying that the population density, you don't want so far out, so rural, so far out in the sticks that there's really nobody around, because they're not going to help keep, if there's nobody there, they can't keep an eye on your property. If there's nobody there, there's nobody that you can learn from, okay, because the locals, they kind of know the local flora and fauna, and this is how you do this, and these are edible, these are real good, used to make so and so out of them. So you still want some population, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. You know, you want to have your friends out there, but you don't want people on top of one another. As far as the location, how close is it to major roads, you know, interstates, things like that. Once the city folk figure out that the city is not sustainable, whether food runs out or it gets too violent, there's going to be a mass exodus from the cities, okay? Is this property right up against a major highway that everybody's going to be walking down and can look over and see your house, or whatever type of structures you have? Is it off of a well-traveled route that there's going to be a lot of people moving up and down? So things like that. So along with being away from the cities and towns, it doesn't matter if you're back in a very low population density area, but you're, you know, right up against the interstate, okay? But if you can find that location that fits what you're looking for as population density, and it's not around major travel corridors, next thing, as far as my opinion, I'm looking at water, guys, and I'm putting water above acreage, okay? Now, that's not to say that you're looking at two properties and this one's got 2 acres but a real nice stream, and this other one's got 50 acres and it's got a little creek on it. I'm probably going to go with the 50 acres and the little creek compared to the nice size stream and the small acreage. But I think you'll kind of see where I'm going here. Is you need that water. If there's no water running on it, that can lead to problems. Our location that we have, it has creeks and it has tons of little springs all over the place, okay? We've also got ponds. Water's not going to be a problem. We've already set up preps as far as filtering it or treating the water, and we can use it for whatever we need to use it for, and we're not going to run out, okay? But water's a big one. You know, you don't want to get that You know, if you're out in Kansas, okay, ain't never been there, but I heard it's pretty flat. You're out in Kansas and there's 20 acres, but it's all like farmland and there's no water running through it. You know, unless you can get a few wells dug, okay, it's going to be tough. But with running water, your creeks and your streams, if you have the expertise or someone in your group has the expertise to set up hydro generation, that could come in pretty handy. There's all different types, the ram pumps to transfer water and everything else. But I would like to see some sort of running water. But at the same time, your running water can fall into the category of travel routes. Okay, if you're talking about a major river that has constantly got people boating, fishing, skiing on it, and your property's right next to that, people are going to use the water as a travel corridor as well. Okay, so yeah, you want water, but how big do you want? You know, if you're on a nice big lake, but it gets a ton of activity in the summertime, I don't know. But like I said, you got to take what you can get. Okay, I mean, I get that. I'm just trying to give you some pointers. So make sure you got the water. I'd really want something with tillable land that's already established, and I don't mean that they grow food on it year after year. I'm not talking about necessarily a farm, but some place that at least has ground that's already broken, it's already got the trees out of it, because that's a lot of work, guys. If you're getting a place and it's 20 acres and it's all wooded, yeah, you can, absolutely. You know, where there's a will, there's a way. You know, you can actually make pasture land in that, but it's going to be a lot of work. Okay, after you cut the trees down, now you got the stumps, and what do you got to do with the stumps? And then for years after that, you're going to be dealing with the roots that are all through there until they finally break down. So it'd be nice to have some place that's already got a big yard. Okay, it don't have to be 20 acres of open field. And when I say big yard, I mean a big, okay, if whatever you want to call it, enough area where you can, if you're going to try to pasture animals, if you're going to grow gardens and stuff like that, you want that already there, already in place. And as far as shelter, okay, I don't want to see you guys buy this land. There's no structures on it, and well, we'll just stay in the tent until we can get something built. There's going to be so many things going on, guys. It's going to be tough. Now, I'm not saying turn down a piece of land because there's not a barn or old house or shed or something on it. I'm just saying that, my opinion, if you buy a piece of property that does not have some sort of structure on it, that should be numero uno on your list as soon as possible. Like, make sure you have the funds for that before you even purchase the property. You know, if you've set aside so much money, make sure that you have enough set aside that you can buy that property and still have enough left over to where you can get some sort of structure, even if it's just a big shed. I mean, something to get you out of the elements. Yeah, tarps are great, man, but I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna get real sick of that real quick, and the first time a small limb or something falls and rips it, you're gonna be in trouble. Or, you know, you got some animal comes over and starts clawing at it, or just the sun will deteriorate certain ones like crazy. Okay, so I would say shelter, and after that, it's pretty much open. Like, if you got population density checked, you have got, you know, your water checked, You have got area on your land to either farm or pasture animals, check. And you got some sort of structure, I think you got the makings of what you're looking for. Now, if you're talking about the group, okay, is there enough area there for everybody in the group? Our area is, I was going to say mountainous. I guess that's all depends on what you're used to. If you're used to Kansas, you know, 100-foot high hill is a mountain to you, but if you're from Colorado, that ain't nothing but a little molehill, okay? So, but on the property, if it's got elevation changes, is there area to have your home sites, okay? Are you going to be able to place everybody in your group there, okay? And as far as acreage for what you're looking for, it's going to depend on your group size, okay? If you are just, you know, a family, you know, mom, dad, couple kids, don't really need 100 acres, okay? In fact, I would say, man, I don't want to spit out numbers because I don't want to tell you guys wrong, but you got to think about it like this: whatever size of property you have to defend that property, okay? If you got 100 acres, do you have the manpower to be able to defend that 100 acres? If you've got 5 acres, do you have the manpower to defend that 5 acres? But do you not have enough land so you can sustain yourself on that 5? You see where I'm going with this? It's that balancing act. You've got to find that Goldilocks zone. You need small enough, if I can talk, a small enough piece of property that you can defend, but a large enough piece of property that will sustain you. And that you're going to have to kind of work out. You know, it's like our bug out location. We're more than one family. I don't want to give out too much info, but we have a large area, and we have discussed how in the world are we going to defend this all? And the short answer is we're not. We're going to have to pick an area that is our primary area of concern, and then we're going to kind of have to work out from that. Okay, this is area A is, you know, our homestead, where the kids are at, where everybody's at, where our food's at. Nobody can enter this zone. Okay, zone B out from that. This is one that we want to keep an eye on, but we don't want to sacrifice zone A for zone B. Zone C, we want to try to check this one once every few days to see if there's any signs of intrusion on it and stuff like that. I think you guys can see where I'm going with this. So you need to determine that for yourself, and your elevation changes are going to have a lot to do with that. You know, if you can sit up on a finger of a ridge and you can look down and have 500 yards viewing in all directions, you're able to protect a much larger area, okay? If not protect, you can at least see the threat coming so that you can get on your radio and let everybody know. To whereas if you're on completely flat ground, you can maybe only see out to 100 yards, 150 yards from any of your observation posts, okay? So it can get in depth. But to try to wrap up here, as far as your location, my opinion, I can't talk today. My opinion, number one, that population density, okay, your travel routes to the cities, things like that. Get to know your neighbors in that area. You want buddies out there, people you can not only learn off of, but whenever you're not there, they can kind of keep an eye on things. Second, take into account your water. You want to make sure there is water there. And yes, you can build a structure and have rainwater and blah, blah, blah. But the running water is just so much, if you got the choice, so much easier, guys. So many more possibilities. Even a small creek, a creek 3 feet wide or something. It's night and day from out there with a hand pump trying to get all the water you need. And then you go to, do you have the, sorry, thought I saw something, squirrel. And then with the others, your shelter, and then your area for growing food or pasturing your animals. So kind of take those into consideration and flip-flop them around. What do you feel is most important? It's like, I got to have that hardened structure. I got a place that they got an underground bunker, but it doesn't check off the other things. That's your call. Just trying to throw some ideas out and make everybody think, and try to figure out what's best for you. So with that in mind, like always, if y'all can do the like, share, subscribe thing, help us grow here, help us spread the message a little bit. And the comments, I really do enjoy the comments, as long as we're not using bad language and telling me I'm an idiot, because I already know I'm an idiot, so you don't have to tell me. It's okay. But no, I do value the comments, okay? Maybe you thought of something I haven't thought of, which is awesome, and that gets that conversation going about other people that maybe watch the video and look down in the comments, and you can help multiple people with just that one comment. So I appreciate the comments. So anyway, y'all have a good day, and we'll talk to you after a while.